ORPA Sydney Trains, we're here to talk about the total experience when it comes to Opal. So Mark, what did you want? What is this? What is this? I need to know the beginning.
Well, if we go back to the beginning, for those of you who are in Sydney, you'll know that Opal is the means by which people these days are encouraged to buy tickets. Historically, we've been in the business of checking to ensure that people don't steal public transport, that they pay for their tickets, and that's been a fairly simple exercise. You can look at a paper ticket and you can say, yes, this is the appropriate ticket or not. Opal changes the game. Opal is a very easy product to use, but it is a very complex product to understand. So again, if you're a user, you're probably trying to think, how do I maximise my travels and trips and journeys? So if it's hard for you to understand, can you imagine being the poor guy whose job it is to figure out is, are you travelling legally or are you travelling illegally? So one of the things we were keen to do, there's equipment that we can use, and I've got props if you'd like.
Oh, I love props.
I like props.
Bringing out the prop.
So we've got some equipment that was previously being used by the transport
officers. That sounds frightening. It looks frightening, I should say.
And actually, that's a small, light one. The product that was originally offered to us was a thing called a Sky M3. So if you're hip and cool and young, you're probably too old to know what a Sky M3 is. It's about 0.5 kilogram of lead, essentially. Great for ferries, for weights, but not great for transport officers. So basically, we engaged Outware to help us to take the functionality from that device and put it onto a smartphone. At the same time we were doing that, we were moving a whole lot of their other equipment onto smartphones as well. So they had about 2 kilograms of equipment, which if you're standing for 8 hours a day with 2 kilograms of equipment is quite unpleasant.
So this thing that you're working with ORPA is for the officers, not for us, the commuters, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. Right. So although it will get there. So the complexity around this was about getting those business rules and capturing them in a device, getting the security squared away, because there's some pretty important security that allows the officers to understand, read what's on and off the card. But of course that's the first step, and I'm from Sydney Trains, not transport, so my interest is to ensure that my officers have got the tools they need, but transport are very keen to ensure that you, the commuter, have the tools you need. So this product will evolve to a product that will be available in the market. Sadly, because of the way the market is, it'll only be available to those people who have Android phones at the moment. But you know, Apple will get there and allow people to play with their products a bit more.
But the goal is, of course, through prototyping, through various iterations over the years, is that you're improving the transport experience. So let's say at the moment I've got my Opal card, I get to the gate, I have to stop.
Yes.
I've got to go through the gate. Oh, it's not working, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Get rid of the gates. Is that the goal?
No. So I think for this particular app, the value of this is less so at gates, more so if you're getting on a bus or if you're going past a post and you tap and you think to yourself, did I tap on? And there's a growing queue of people behind you and you think, oh, am I going to get going or not? You may be tempted to think, I didn't tap on, so I'm just going to tap on, and in fact you had tapped on and now you've tapped off. So now you're illegal. What this device will do for you, if you've not registered your card, most people register their cards and you can just find out by going online, is that you could bring that card up to the device and the device will tell you, are you tapped on or off? And if you're not tapped on and you're on a bus, you'll know as soon as possible thereafter to tap on.
Okay.
But for our officers, the business case benefit was simply about reducing the cost, increasing the speed, making sure the customers can get turned around much more quickly, rather than doing this whole kind of let me see now type thing.
Okay, so how within where you work, do you have to kind of be pretty agile with I suppose with the plan of what you're doing to sort of embrace this new way of thinking to be able to make it work?
Yeah, it's a game changer for us in that historically we've tended to go to where people get off trains to see that or get off buses or ferries to see if they've got the right ticket, and we know that when they get off, if they don't have a ticket, therefore that journey was free to them, not free to us. Whereas now we basically have to encourage people to tap on. Once you've tapped on, the incentive is on you, the user, to tap off again. Otherwise, you'll get charged a pretty penny, shall we say. For the officers, the benefit is when they go around and speak to you and they pick up your card and tap it, they can tap it through your wallet, as you can with tapping on and off, is that it's a much more seamless experience for the transport officers and for the customers. They hear the Outware have been brilliant. They designed a lot of the usability of the device around the Opal platform, so that the tones that the device makes are the same tones that you'll hear when you go on and off a railway station or a bus. You know, there's a nice green, red, amber, so anybody can see green, I'm okay, I don't need to worry. Red, you might be having a conversation with the officer. But the other nice thing is it, unlike some of the previous products, provides a history. So if you're a regular commuter and you've got a travel record and we can see that and you've not tapped on this one time, we're not going to get up you for that. Am I allowed to say get up you for that?
Yeah.
We're not going to treat you like a criminal for that. We'll look at the history and we'll say, well, look, clearly it's been a mistake.
Okay, so you're improving the entire experience, not only for the officers but for the commuters as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
From being what can be pretty torturous.
Yeah, and it's stressful, particularly with Opal, because it's a culture change for us. Melbourne have gone through it, and Melbourne, they struggled. I don't think that would be unfair to say. They struggled with that experience of moving to MyKey. We want our experience to be as seamless and painless as possible, and we've been giving our officers a lot of latitude to say, well, look, let's educate the punters, the public, sorry, that's you, the punters, the commuters, to use the system and know whether they're using it properly.
Okay, yeah. And actually making the money that you're supposed to make at the same
time.
time.
Well, yeah, because
it's
expensive running it's expensive running trains, and it's fare evasion costs us a lot of money every year.
Okay. Yeah. Did it recoup the costs?
100%. So that little device I showed you, that has very limited functionality. We needed a whole heap of extra functionality, and that functionality was available on this brick that I was telling you about, this Sky M3, at a cost of $3,500 per unit and 165 officers going to 230 officers, whereas this software product can sit on any Android phone, which we're using for everything else anyway. The opportunity costs were significant. I think, though, it's not all about, I know you might hear that from transport, but actually it is about the user experience too. So this was always going to be step one on a path that would lead to something in your hands, but this was the step that paid for itself and paid for the app that will come into your hands at some point. And that's nice too. You get a convergence of customer experience and public benefit.
So you have the physical Opal card, but are you looking to implement NFC technology?
It has to use NFC technology. So the point of this is that, and this is the reason why we couldn't frankly use the iPhone, because the iPhone at the time didn't have NFC on board, is that it uses near-field communications. It uses some encrypted key material that only we have currently, but we're looking at how we can share that with the public in a secure way to read the contents of that card. It uses some business rules logic. So Outware did a brilliant, in fact, I don't want to dominate. This is new for me. So for guys in transport and security, we start with the requirements and then we end up with a product. They did it completely backwards. They said, well, what's the best way the thing should look? And we'll worry about the fare rules and the business and the data input, and they went backwards like that. So our officers love it. They love it. And I think, if I might be so bold, when it comes your way, it'll be brilliant for customers.
What research did you do outside of Australia?
So I'm going to make a big call here. I'm going to say here that this is the first application of this type in the world. The technology that we use, Cubic, is used in London, it's used in, I think, Hong Kong, and there's a competitor for Cubic's technology, and it's used in other locations. Every single revenue protection environment uses the devices of various types. This is the only one that we're aware of in the Western world, definitely, that uses an app. And that's pretty impressive. Now, I could be wrong on that, but if there are out there, there's not many of them. It's definitely the first in the country.
If it's the first in the world using an app, did you have to patent the technology?
No, so the fare rules all are the property of Transport for New South Wales, all the business rules behind the app. The design stuff obviously belongs to us, but in that it's been procured from Outware. So no, and we didn't patent it. I'm not sure there would be anything that would be patentable, if that's an adjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, round of applause, amazing. Thank you.